Cleopatra is one of the most famous rulers of Egypt. There are legends about her reign, and after her death, the queen left behind many secrets and artifacts. One of them was found quite recently, and it seems that it can change the whole history. Let's take a look at it. Last fall, Israeli archaeologists were conducting excavations in the City of David National Park in Jerusalem when they stumbled upon an interesting artifact, an amethyst seal which was about 2,000 years old. It was decorated with the image of the biblical tree, the fruit of which, according to legend, was used to make balm and perfume for the famous Queen Cleopatra. Apparently, the artifact could belong to Cleopatra herself. Scientists found an engraving on it, the seal with the image of a plant, which is a sort of persimmon. In ancient times, it was extremely expensive and was used to make incense. Some scholars believe that the persimmon shown on the artifact was often given to Cleopatra, and then a special balm was made from it for the queen, which changed Cleopatra's appearance and made her more beautiful and visually younger. The artifact could change history, because if we can sort this out, or at least artificially cultivate it, scientists will be able to create a rejuvenation drug that will affect the future history of the Earth. However, many scientists believe that the persimmon from the artifact has already disappeared, so we can only hope for cultivation. Another no less interesting artifact may not change the entire history of the world, but only the history of Egyptology. More precisely, it's not an artifact, but a whole object, because I'm talking about Cleopatra's tomb. In fact, so far, no one knows for sure where the legendary queen lies. Her tomb has never been found. This is surprising because scientists have been able to find the graves of even the pharaohs who ruled long before Cleopatra. Anyway, the case of Cleopatra is already a major advance, and scientists may soon make a grand discovery. In 2020, an international team of archaeologists released preliminary data from the study of a closed tomb in the ancient Egyptian city of Taposiris Magna. In the tomb, 2 gilded mummies were found, and one of them may belong to Queen Cleopatra. Firstly, this is indicated by the fact that the head of the statue depicting Cleopatra was found during excavations at the site. Secondly, the mummies were originally covered with gold leaf, which indicates a very high social status of the buried ones. Thirdly, one of the mummies had an image of a scarab engraved on a gold coating. It's a symbol of royal power and rebirth, which was used by the rulers of Egypt. Finally, in the Taposiris Magna, the alleged remains of Cleopatra's ancestors were already found. In general, many factors indicate that the queen's mummy has finally been found, and if this is true, it means that soon we'll be able to learn even more about Cleopatra. For example, we can find out how the ruler really died, because scientists are still arguing about it. Or we can find out exactly what Cleopatra looked like when she was alive. In general, the life of this ruler was very unusual, mysterious, and interesting, so it's worth it to learn more about her. Stay tuned to find out all the most unusual, unexpected details about the life of the most famous female ruler of Egypt. It's likely that if what archaeologists found in Taposiris Magna really turns out to be a mummy of Cleopatra, then scientists will be able to establish the exact cause of death of the queen, as I said before. Yes, in fact, no one knows exactly what Cleopatra died of, but it is 100% known that she took her own life. Cleopatra did it to avoid becoming Octavian's prisoner after Egypt was conquered by Rome. The most widespread version is that Cleopatra killed herself with the help of a venomous snake. They say that the woman's faithful servants brought her a basket of figs where the venomous reptile was sitting, which bit the queen and she soon died. According to another version, Cleopatra took the usual poison, which was in her golden stiletto. But modern scientists believe that the cause of Cleopatra's death was not the bite of a venomous snake, but a full-fledged poisonous mixture of opium, hemlock, and aconite plants. This makes sense because such a mixture causes a person to die within a few hours without any pain or change in appearance. And given that Cleopatra cared about appearance, it's unlikely that she would have subjected herself to long agony and body marks after a snake bite. Anyway, so far the death of the beautiful Cleopatra remains one of the most mystical mysteries. Speaking of beauty, the fact that Cleopatra was beautiful is known to everyone. This is how she's shown in movies, cartoons, and books, and it's from them we know the image of the queen. It's also a common fact that Cleopatra was so beautiful that men were ready to say goodbye to life just for one night with her. This all sounds cool, but as it turns out, it's not true. Maybe Cleopatra did get rid of her lovers for the night, but the fact that she was an indescribable beauty is doubtful. A few years ago, scientists examined a 2,000-year-old coin found in 2007 that depicted Cleopatra's face in profile, along with several other finds with images of the queen. They found out that Cleopatra was quite an ordinary woman, who obviously didn't reach the standard of beauty. She was short, overweight, had a big, long, wide nose, big eyes, and narrow lips. Despite this, she charmed literally everyone. Why? Well, it was all to do with Cleopatra's keen mind. She was described as an incredibly clever and talented girl with a convincing speech, a confident voice, and a broad knowledge of astronomy, philosophy, mathematics, and linguistics. Cleopatra, by the way, knew 7 to 10 foreign languages, so there were no interpreters at her court. Not surprisingly, such a smart girl was admired by everyone around her. Cleopatra was not just a smart girl, but an innovative one. She had a huge influence on the cosmetics of her time, and her methods of self-care are used even by modern girls, at least indirectly. For example, one of Cleopatra's most famous features was her expressive black arrows on her eyes. The queen drew them not only for beauty. She knew that the eyeliner contained antimony, a substance that helped fight eye infections. Such were not uncommon among the entire Egyptian population at the time. Plus, the arrows minimized exposure to the bright Egyptian sun. Cleopatra generally had a wide knowledge of chemistry, so she was well-versed in many substances. For example, she knew that honey had antibacterial properties, so she applied it to her skin as a cream. And to keep her skin soft and clean, Cleopatra wiped her face with rose water. Interestingly, to this day, this ingredient is included in most tonics and cleansers. Among other things, Cleopatra was well-versed in perfumery. She believed in the power of fragrance, not only as a cosmetic tool, but also as an instrument of political persuasion. Thus, according to legend, Cleopatra doused the sails of her ship with perfume before she went on her first date with Mark Antony to make sure he smelled her before he saw her. Cleopatra was so adept at chemistry, alchemy, and fragrances that she even owned a perfume factory. This says a lot, because with her status, she couldn't have bothered and simply ordered her subjects to get any fragrance. But she herself liked to create new fragrances that would help her in everyday life, as well as in negotiations. It's believed that Cleopatra even wrote down recipes for her signature perfumes, but the book was lost or burned in a fire in the Great Library of Alexandria. The ruins of the Cleopatra's perfume factory are at the Dead Sea near the town of Ein Gedi. By the way, there's evidence that the factory also functioned as a spa. Some of the interior furnishings are similar to those seen in modern beauty salons. Marriage and elimination. Cleopatra came from the Macedonian Ptolemaic dynasty. Members of the royal dynasty valued the purity of their lineage and practically did not allow themselves to marry people from other families. In other words, Ptolemies had incest as the norm. Many of Cleopatra's ancestors were partners with cousins, and it's likely that her own parents were brother and sister. Incidentally, historians believe that incest may have been one of the reasons why Cleopatra's appearance wasn't actually the most graceful. In any case, according to this custom, Cleopatra was also no exception in terms of incest. After the death of Ptolemy VII, her father, Cleopatra began to rule Egypt with her younger brother. Then they married, but they couldn't get along in a power struggle. Her brother expelled her sister from Egypt, and Cleopatra went to Rome, where she enlisted the support of Julius Caesar and made an alliance with him. The Romans invaded Alexandria, after which Cleopatra began to brutally eliminate her rivals. After the war, Cleopatra married her second younger brother, Ptolemy XIV. But it's assumed that he was also killed by Cleopatra when she tried to make her one son the co-ruler. In general, Cleopatra was not only a clever ruler, but also a rather cruel one. In addition, Cleopatra was a goddess in the literal sense of the word. And it's not only because her subjects treated her as a goddess, she proclaimed herself a deity. Plutarch, the famous Greek writer and philosopher, wrote about this. According to him, Cleopatra was a divine manifestation of Isis, the goddess of the ideal of womanhood and motherhood. Cleopatra called herself the new Isis and told her subjects that she was the incarnation of Isis on earth and the reincarnation of the goddess. Plutarch wrote that in public she often showed herself in the sacred robes of Isis. In this, she was supported by Mark Antony, a Roman politician, general, and Cleopatra's lover. He claimed to be the incarnation of Osiris on Earth. This made sense because Osiris was the consort of Isis and the king of the afterlife. In general, Cleopatra was devoted not only to Isis. Scientists believe that she tried on images of different goddesses. Spending and betting. Cleopatra had not only divine images, but also divine spending, in the sense that she spent money incredibly actively and extensively. Cleopatra easily spent huge sums on her whims and could squander a colossal sum in one sitting. There's an interesting episode involving Mark Antony. Legend has it that Cleopatra once made a bet with him that she could spend 10 million sesterces at a single meal. Scientists calculate that to be about 10 to 20 million US dollars in today's money. The couple made a bet. Cleopatra asked for a modest meal, and her servants then brought her a cup of vinegar. She then removed one of her earrings, pulled a very expensive pearl from it, tossed it into the vinegar, and watched it dissolve. She then drank a cup of vinegar, thus proving that she would do anything to win the bet. Modern scientists were skeptical of the story for a long time, but then they conducted an experiment. They took out the vinegar and the pearl and did the same thing as Cleopatra. It turned out that vinegar did dissolve the calcium carbonate in the pearl, but it probably would have taken longer than a whole day. That's all, guys. What in Cleopatra's life surprised you the most? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching, and see you later.